It hurled sheets of snow sideways through the narrow streets of Chicago's south side, slammed against windows, and shrieked through alleyways like something alive. Streetlights flickered behind curtains of white. Cars were already buried halfway in drifts. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, swallowed almost instantly by the storm. Inside a tired brick building above a 24-hour laundromat, Elena Morales climbed the final step to her small apartment, her boots leaving melting snow across the worn wooden stairs. She was exhausted. The diner had closed early, customers rushed home before the roads became impassable. Tips had been thin. The storm meant fewer shifts this week. She locked her door behind her and leaned against it for a moment. Silence, except for the wind. Her apartment was modest, one couch, one small table, a kitchenette with aging cabinets, and a narrow bed tucked behind a curtain. A faint smell of detergent drifted up from the laundromat below. The heater clanked loudly in protest but delivered little warmth. Elena rubbed her hands together and moved with quiet routine. Routine was her anchor. Coat on hook, boots by the mat, tip money counted and placed in a small envelope labeled bakery. That envelope was her quiet rebellion against circumstance. She heated a can of tomato soup and placed a slice of bread in the toaster. Simple, affordable, enough. As she waited, she glanced at the photograph taped to the refrigerator. Her mother, smiling warmly despite the hospital bracelet around her wrist. Beneath it, a handwritten sentence. Kindness is a discipline, not a mood. Her mother had believed that habits, not luck, decided a person's future. Elena carried that belief like armor. Just as she lifted her spoon, a sound cut through the apartment. A knock. She froze. The building rarely received visitors. Most tenants kept to themselves. And tonight, no one in their right mind would be out in this. Another knock, weaker, almost swallowed by the wind. Her heart began to pound. She moved toward the door slowly, cautious. Through the small peephole she saw only white, snow swirling violently. A third knock, this one barely audible. Her instincts battled each other. Don't open the door, it's dangerous. But what if someone is truly in trouble? Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. When fear and kindness are you, listen carefully to both, but act with courage. Elena grabbed her coat and opened the building's front entrance downstairs. The wind nearly knocked her backward. There, hunched against the railing and half buried in snow, stood an elderly woman. Her silver hair was tangled and dusted with ice. Her thin gloves were soaked through. Her breathing came in shallow, uneven gasps. I'm sorry, the woman whispered, barely audible. I thought I could make it to the main road. Elena's fear vanished instantly, replaced by focus. Don't apologize. Come inside. Slowly, the woman tried to step forward but nearly collapsed. Elena caught her, surprised by how light she felt, fragile, like dry branches. Guiding her up the stairs was slow work. The woman's shoes were slick, and her hands trembled uncontrollably. Inside the apartment, Elena shut the door against the storm and immediately set into motion. Another habit, in crisis, act first, panic later. She helped the woman sit on the couch and removed her wet gloves and coat. The woman's fingers were pale and stiff. My name is Margaret, she managed, teeth chattering violently. Elena, she replied gently. You're safe now. Elena wrapped her in blankets and rushed to heat water. She poured tea into her only ceramic mug, the one without a chip, and placed it carefully in Margaret's hands. Small sips, she instructed. Margaret studied her through tired eyes. You live alone? She asked softly. Yes. You're not afraid to open your door at night? Elena paused. Sometimes, she admitted. But I'm more afraid of becoming the kind of person who doesn't. The storm intensified, slamming snow against the window so hard it sounded like gravel. The lights flickered once, twice. Elena's stomach tightened. The power went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Margaret inhaled sharply. It's all right, Elena said calmly, though her heart raced. She moved confidently through the dark to a small drawer in the kitchen. She kept 2 emergency candles there, another habit she never ignored. Preparation is cheaper than regret. She lit the candles. Soft golden light filled the apartment, pushing back the cold shadows. For a moment, the room felt strangely peaceful. Margaret's shivering slowly eased as warmth returned to her hands. Elena reheated the soup on a small gas camping stove she kept for outages. You plan for everything, Margaret observed quietly. I try, Elena replied. Life doesn't give warnings. Margaret gave a faint smile. That's very true. They ate in silence at first. The wind screamed outside, but inside the apartment there was something steady, something unshaken. After a while, Margaret spoke again. My drive is car stalled. I insisted he wait while I tried to find help. I thought I could manage a few blocks. You shouldn't have been out alone, Elena said gently. Margaret nodded. Stubbornness is an old habit. Elena smiled softly. We all have those. The conversation drifted slowly, about childhood memories, about Chicago winters decades ago, about Elena's work at the diner downtown. Margaret listened intently, asking thoughtful questions. And your dream? Margaret asked eventually. Everyone your age carries one. Elena hesitated. Dreams felt fragile when spoken aloud. I want to open a bakery, she admitted. A small place, warm, somewhere people can come when life feels cold. Margaret's eyes brightened in the candlelight. A refuge, yes, Elena whispered. Outside, the storm began to settle slightly, though snow still fell thick and heavy. Margaret leaned back into the couch, exhaustion overtaking her. Within minutes, her breathing deepened into sleep. Elena remained awake. She watched the elderly woman's peaceful face and felt something unexpected, not burden, not inconvenience, but purpose. Helping her had cost almost nothing. And yet it felt significant. The apartment was still cold. Elena's soup had grown thin. Tomorrow's work shift might be cancelled. Rent was due in 2 weeks. But none of that mattered in this moment. Because habits quietly shape who we are when no one is watching. Anyone can promise kindness when life is easy. But in a blizzard, in darkness, when opening a door feels risky, that is when character reveals itself. Elena adjusted the blanket gently around Margaret's shoulders and stared out the window at the snow-covered city of Chicago. She had no idea that somewhere, miles away, such teams were looking desperately for the missing mother of one of America's most powerful businessmen. She didn't know black SUVs would soon line her quiet street. She didn't know her life was about to pivot. All she knew was this. Tonight, she had chosen not to let the storm outside create a storm inside her heart. And sometimes, that choice is the beginning of everything. The storm had weakened, but the city looked transformed, buried under thick white silence. Snowbanks swallowed parked cars. Storefront signs were barely visible. The air held that strange, heavy quiet that follows chaos. Inside the small apartment above the laundromat, Elena stood awake in her chair. She must have fallen asleep sometime near sunrise. The candle had burned low. The room was pale blue with early morning light reflecting off the snow outside. Margaret was still asleep on the couch, her breathing steady now. Relief washed over Elena. She stood carefully, stretched her stiff back, and peeked through the window. And froze. 2 black SUVs had pulled up in front of the building. Their engines idled softly. Within seconds, suited men stepped out, scanning the area with urgency. One of them spoke rapidly into a phone. Another pointed toward the building entrance. Elena's heart began to pound. What is happening? Then a third vehicle arrived, sleek, dark, unmistakably expensive. The door opened. A tall man stepped out, his coat tailored, his posture controlled, but his face tense with something raw. Fear. He didn't look around casually. He searched. Elena's stomach tightened. The men moved quickly toward the building, flanked by security. Moments later, there was a firm knock at the downstairs door. Elena hurried to answer before the noise startled Margaret. When she opened it, the tall man stood face to face with her. Up close, he looked familiar. She had seen him before, on business magazine covers at the grocery checkout line. On financial news segments playing silently above the diner counter. Daniel Whitmore, tech investor, real estate mogul, one of the wealthiest men in Illinois. Frequently featured in Forbes lists and interviewed on Bloomberg. But in this moment, he didn't look powerful. He looked like a son who hadn't slept. My mother, he said, voice tight. Is she here? Elena blinked. Margaret. His eyes widened slightly. Yes, she's safe, Elena replied quickly. She was freezing when I found her. She's upstairs. Daniel didn't wait for further explanation. He climbed the stairs two at a time. Security followed but remained respectfully near the door. Elena stepped aside as Daniel entered the apartment. Margaret had woken at the sound of footsteps. Daniel, she said softly. The tension drained from his body the instant he saw her. He crossed the room and knelt beside her, taking her hands carefully, almost reverently. Mother, we've been searching since midnight. The car stalled. The driver called emergency services. We thought. I know, she interrupted gently. I know. He exhaled shakily, pressing his forehead briefly against her knuckles. Elena stood awkwardly near the kitchenette, unsure where to look. Margaret glanced toward her. She opened her door, Margaret said simply. Daniel looked up. His gaze moved slowly around the apartment, the chipped paint, the aging furniture, the single candle, the modest kitchen. He took in every detail in seconds. You brought her in, he asked Elena. Yes. You didn't know who she was. No. You live here alone. Yes. There was no judgment in his voice. Only assessment. Margaret squeezed his hand. If she hadn't opened that door, Daniel, I don't believe I'd be sitting here. Silence settled in the room. Outside, snow slid from rooftops with heavy thuds. Daniel stood slowly and approached Elena. How can I thank you? He asked. The question felt surreal. You don't have to, Elena said quickly. Anyone would have done the same. Margaret smiled faintly. No, dear, not anyone. Daniel studied her carefully, not just her face, but her posture, her steady voice, the calmness that hadn't cracked even now. What do you do? He asked. I work at a diner downtown. Full-time, double shifts. He nodded once. And what would you do, he continued, if you weren't limited by money? The question caught her off guard. No one had ever asked her that so directly. She hesitated, glancing at the envelope labeled, bakery, near the fridge. I'd open a bakery, she admitted softly. A small place, somewhere warm, somewhere people can sit without feeling rushed. Daniel followed her gaze and noticed the envelope. He walked toward it but didn't touch it. You're saving. Yes. For how long? She gave a small embarrassed smile. However long it takes. Margaret chuckled gently from the couch. She gave me her only good socks last night, Daniel. He turned back sharply. You did. Elena shrugged. You needed them more. There it was. Not performance. Not strategy. Habit. Daniel had built companies by reading people quickly. Investors. Source. Partners. He could sense when someone acted for appearance, and when they acted from character. This wasn't charity. This was instinct. And instinct built from repetition. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a sleek black business card. I own several vacant storefronts in Lincoln Park, he said calmly. One of them would make an excellent bakery. Elena blinked. Sir, I'm not offering charity, he interrupted gently. I invest in people, and last night, you demonstrated something most executives can't buy. She swallowed. What's that? Consistent character. Margaret smiled proudly. Daniel continued, 5 years. No rent. Fully renovated. Equipment covered. In return, you run it the way you described. Warm. Welcoming. No shortcuts. The room felt smaller suddenly, like the walls were leaning in to listen. Elena's heart pounded so loudly she could hear it. This isn't real, she whispered. Daniel allowed himself a small smile. It is. Margaret reached out her hand. Elena, she said softly, you kept kindness as a habit when it would have been easier not to. My son understands the value of habits. That's how he built everything he has. Daniel nodded slightly. Success, he added, is really built in moments. It's built in patterns. Outside, the sun began to break through the clouds, reflecting brilliantly off the snow-covered streets of Chicago. Light poured through the window, filling the small apartment. Elena looked around at the cracked ceiling, the aging stove, the envelope of savings. She had opened a door in a storm. And now, a door was opening for her. Not because of luck, not because of status, but because kindness, practiced daily, had quietly positioned her for a miracle. And sometimes, the habits you build in private become the blessings you receive in public.